eventually you get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
What's up, everybody? I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I want to welcome you back to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Tyler Reed.
You know, spring really is the quirked-up white boy of the 4 seasons, isn't it?
And Sean Evans.
We're going to release some temporary tattoos called Lick It and Stick It, No Repeat.
Ooh.
Look out.
I like that.
I feel like the temporary tattoo market has really taken off in the last couple of years with like these semi-permanent things. Have you seen these? I kind of like this idea as somebody who's kind of commitment phobic. That being said,
You just bought a dog.
You're getting married!
I was gonna say, that being said, I am engaged, and I was sitting on a plane looking at pictures of adoptable dogs on Sunday. Went to a shelter on Tuesday, looked at a dog. It wasn't the one I wanted. Went to another shelter on Wednesday and got a dog.
I think you just lied. I think that's what that was.
He's just playing the super sexy angle where he's like, I'm not into commitment. Please be with me. I get that. That's totally who I am too. Look at me. Don't look at me.
You want to be the cool boyfriend.
Well, this week isn't about psychoanalyzing our souls, or is it? Tyler, what was our challenge this week?
This week, we're challenged to find the perfect song for the first warm day, enough to go outside without sleeves, dried with the windows down. Submitted by Lindsay Nels and Lindsay's dog Diego. Have a little sickness right now. Everybody give some good wishes out for our little pupper boy Diego. And if you want to submit your own challenge, you can DM us or wait for the Instagram post at NoRepeatPod, or you can always send us an email at norepeatpod@gmail.com. Thanks so much.
Man, this challenge came at a very weird time because
Yes.
as we record this, it is March 13th, and the entire eastern seaboard where we all live has been buffeted by winter storms. The temperature in the morning yesterday when I went out to walk the dog was 19, with wind gusts of 24 miles an hour.
In Atlanta, anomaly.
In Atlanta. So we haven't exactly had the warm day of spring this weekend, but last weekend it was 75. So, like, you know, comme si, comme ça.
So that being said, literally when our episode dropped, it snowed. But so today was actually, the snow was dried up and it was like 48 degrees. I was like, okay, this is the temperature I want it to be, but it's better.
Can we also talk about how we did a snow challenge and then immediately did a warm weather challenge right after, and the weather did the exact same thing?
Exactly. Spring, baby. It's the worst season. It's my least favorite and it's not even close.
Sean is shaking his head. Is it also your least favorite?
It was for a long time. My wife is slowly winning me over. It's not my favorite. It fall is my favorite. I'm basic.
We're all basic fall boys on here. Right.
So, but my wife really likes spring, and she's showed me why spring can be nice, and I'm a little bit more convinced of it. I tend to like all the seasons, so, but.
Man, I'm telling you, once I moved to the South and experienced real pollen.
Oh yeah, though, that's bad.
Although
done. I get fall allergies too, so it's not like I'm just not.
It's like one day every spring, I am just completely laid up, can't leave the house, have to have the air on full blast, or I will, like, my throat will close up and I won't be able to breathe.
Goodness.
I mean, I think that will be one of the upsides of leaving the pandemic, is that, like, wearing masks will become not a taboo thing in culture anymore. Like, if you have an N95 during allergy season and you do wear it, you could plausibly justify that by being like, listen, if I take this thing off, I'm going to be not able to come to work tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
Also, my eyes are just falling out right now, and they're bloodshot because the dogwoods are pollinating, and I just can't move.
Right there with you, buddy. But the good things about spring, I gotta say, when we had that 75-degree day last weekend, and even today when it got up to 55, man, I tell you what, I got the sunroof open, I got the windows down, I am rolling through town with the music blasting because it's like the world is defrost, kind of. And I feel like, especially here, it's like a very outdoor city. Outdoor dining is the thing. There's lots of hiking. Like, everybody's outside because it's so nice until it's polleny or hot. And we gotta, like,
inevitably snows again.
Well,
Like,
if-
like a few, like 2 days. You're like, oh, great.
maybe. But so we were all like pumped for spring. Everybody was like getting their shorts out, getting their t-shirts out. You know, we had the windows down. We had the whole house opened up last weekend. And then it snowed on Saturday. Flurries, but still snow. And so I've been like in this headspace, right? I got a new dog, spending lots of time outside, doing lots of walks. I wanted to be into spring. I'm ready for it. I want the warm weather. I will even take the pollen. I just want to be out there, sunglasses on, windows down, just rocking it, loving the weather. I want something that puts me in that good, optimistic spring mood, the kind of thing that, like, you leave work and it's still light out because now it's daylight savings time, and like you feel like the day is ahead of you and you have everything at your disposal. That's what I was after. But what about you guys? What was your process this week?
It's a good question. I mean, we had a week in the greater Washington, D.C. area that was very similar to what you had. Like, it was like 65 on Friday, and then we got up on Saturday, and there was like, luckily the ground was not frozen, but on my car there was probably about 2 inches of snow, which is a very common occurrence here. Like, DC always gets a March snowstorm or some sort of like weird snow scare that happens, and fortunately this time it was on a Saturday, so like nobody was going anywhere anyway. But we did have that day where it was like kind of nice. I wanted a little bit more of a excited song, because I feel like when it comes to summer, or when it comes to spring, especially now that, like Taylor said, when you live in a city that is technically within the South, maybe mid-Atlantic, I don't know what region this is, whatever watershed, the Chesapeake watershed, we'll just go with that. There is this excitement that builds because the late spring is summer. Once it gets to like mid-April here, it's like it goes from highs in the 50s to like highs in the 80s over a course of like 9 days. And that's it. There's like it's like boom. But we do have cherry blossoms. And maybe subconsciously that would definitely influence me because that is a big thing here. So yeah.
You're more into the anticipation of the season.
Yeah, I like that. I like having stuff to look forward to.
I feel that.
Yeah, I feel like it finally being warm is a cause for celebration, but I feel like you're still kind of, as you put it, Taylor, defrosting in a way. So I feel like it's kind of almost like you got to do your stretches before you work out, right? Before you do some exercising. So you don't want to like, go into a sprint, jumping out of bed, right? Because maybe this is relevant for us because we're old, ancient. We have to do that. So that's kind of like what I was thinking about. So I want a song that was celebratory, but wasn't, it's not so much a summertime, like where I feel like summer is a real jubilation. You're like, yes, it's high praise. This is the time. It's finally consistently warm, but this is almost like a tentative celebration. This is like, this is the start of good things to come. And so what I was thinking about, I was trying to think of the right kind of song for that. And so I wanted something that felt breezy, felt something that was comfortable, maybe something that had sort of like, maybe like, I don't know why I was thinking about like jangliness, like Genius of Love was like a B-side for me. And I feel like something about sort of like that guitar line was sort of like, ooh, it's kind of got a little bit of movement to it, but it's not like, like another B-side I was thinking about was like Baba O'Raya, which is like, this is this full-bodied explosion of joy, like this is like a triumph, we're not quite at that point yet. This is a small step in the way. And so I was thinking about something that was kind of cool, that was calm, but it was fun and gave you some energy, that gave you a little bit of movement. So yeah.
Well, should we dive right in?
Please.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Tyler, what do you got?
This week I chose Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass.
Laying whiskey down, they say Brandy, fetch another round. She serves them whiskey and wine. The sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. Yeah, your eyes could steal a sailor from the sea. Brandy wears a braided.
So, I think another aspect of this was thinking about nostalgia in a way, you know, because I feel like as the seasons change, as things sort of like happens, you know, like you think about Christmas, you know, like you have sort of like the Christmas standards, right? And you're like, oh man, it's been a whole year since I've gotten to listen to them, you know, like I'm excited for it. We got to listen to them. Then you listen to a whole lot, and then you get tired of them, and then you listen to whatever, you know, like. And I feel like in a way, I feel like maybe sort of like the classic rock sort of era is sort of like not exactly something you're listening to all the time, but like it kind of has a sort of like a warm, sort of like summery kind of vibe. I feel like it kind of feels like grilling out, feels like, you know, kind of like you're hanging out at the backyard kind of vibe. I feel like classic rock really kind of like, that's where like it really excels. So I feel like spring is, you know, I feel like Brandy Your Fine Girl kind of fits this, and that it's, you know, it sort of is in the lineage of the classic rock genre, but, you know, it's kind of smooth. It's got a little bit of smoothness to it, you know. I think the vocal delivery is really really slick. You know, it's very I don't want to say sensual. Sensual is the right word, but there's a, you know, it's like you know, it feels like I'm getting wooed, you know. And so I feel like that kind of really lends itself to sort of like this kind of like easy breezy kind of vibe, you know. And I feel like as well, I feel like the choral element of this also means like you're in the car with your buds, you know, with your friends, you could do a little sing along, and I feel like that's like a good sort of like energy to kind of give yourself a little bit of hype, you know, with the windows rolling down and stuff. I don't know, I just feel like it's a nice, easy sort of classic rock tune that just gets me in the mood for warmer weather.
Well, let's go ahead and disclaim off the top, because we've done an episode on this topic before. This song, yacht rock.
Yes.
110%, literally about the sea.
Yes.
So Tyler had picked another classic rock song, which I'm sure we'll talk about in B-sides.
Yeah.
And then he swapped it to this, and I think he made the right choice. Because Brandy is an all-timer. Brandy is the kind of song that you don't really think about until you hear it, and you're like, oh, wow, I know everything about this song. Like, I know every word. I know every trumpet hit. I know every do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Like, I know it all, because it was just kind of ubiquitous, at least for us on classic rock radio, and I feel like it's culturally kind of like seeped into us in general. Like, it's been...
Thanks, Guardians of the Galaxy, as well.
Yep, it's been Guardians of the Galaxy. Girl Talk sampled it a lot back in the mashup days of the 2010s. Like, it's just a great track. Those vocal harmonies are all time. So crisp and together. And that Hammond organ. We talk about that instrument a lot on this show, but this song lives and dies by its electric organ.
Yeah.
And I'm into it. It sounds like spring, late spring, early summer to me. Sipping some iced tea.
Got some trumpets. Also good.
Maybe a Long Island iced tea. If you're getting real randy, it's a good time. Brandy's serving them whiskey and wine. She's a fine girl.
Seems like a bad combination, but we're not. Listen, we're not here to judge.
Hey, they're sailors. They'll take what they can get.
Oh, man, it's hard for me not to see how this song taps into Tyler's subconscious.
Tyler just wants a barmaid to rescue him from the sea.
Right, listen, if you're...
Tyler's
on the hunt. He's out there looking. I'm just going to get it out of the way and say it, because that's immediately what I thought when I was like, wait a second, this feels a little pointed right here. And I get it. I get it. Use this as a platform to reach out to people. I appreciate that. I'm here for you.
I mean, let's take a second to talk about what this song actually is, though, because it's kind of a forbidden love. It's kind of a star-crossed lovers, right? The sailor says, Brandy, you're a fine girl. But then he also says, my life, my love, and my lady is the sea. And then in the second verse, we learn that this is not the first time this has happened. Brandy wears a locket around her neck of a man she was supposed to marry, who left her for the sea as well.
It's always the sea.
It is actually kind of a sad song.
Yeah.
Like, Brandy's living her life on the land, but every man just wants the sea.
It goes, It goes both ways. I like it. I like the yacht rockiness of this song. It feels a little too classic rock for me. I'm trying to stay away from that because I feel like I can get into a rut of classic rock and just start picking it left and right. And when I heard this, I was like, this is...
Doesn't get much more classic.
We really do exercise a lot of restraint with our choices.
Yeah.
I feel like we really could have blown through a lot of the canon of classic rock with the almost 200 episodes we've done.
Right. And yeah, almost too much so. And I feel like I just personally have to like look at myself. What I was going to say that I feel like I'm going to catch a lot of crap for is that I feel like they're a little bit of a fake Chicago.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
And
I'll give you that.
I don't appreciate that. I don't know. It feels a little cheesy. Like there's a little bit of too much cliche happening here for me. I don't think it's a bad song. And I like when Taylor described the lyrics, I like that. I did not know of this song until listening to it for the first time. I feel like I've never heard this song before.
Whoa, that's crazy.
What?
So I don't know. I think that's just why I'm like a little bit taken aback. I'm like, I don't think about this as my song.
Well, considering you never heard it before, you don't have any context for it.
Yeah, and
That's
you're kind of getting
wild to
an
me.
initial reaction.
Yeah. I would agree that it does when you don't think about it, because I actually listened to this album, and this is kind of really the standout track. I mean, they're a one-hit wonder. This is like their song. That, you know, and so like the rest of this album doesn't really have the same sort of energy. You know, there's a lot of really cool parts of this that don't translate into the rest of this album. So it's just like they really put it all into this song. And I can see how you're like, this sounds like something else. But I do feel like the part that does, I feel like the lyrical content really does sort of like, oh, it's very poetic in that way. I think that's fun. But to be fair, after last week's big stinker on the pod, I was like, you know what? I gotta pick a classic. I gotta pick a big hit. I gotta pick something big for this challenge because I gotta come back. I gotta make sure that the boys like this one.
Well, you got my vote of confidence on it.
That's halfway there. Living out of prayer, baby.
Well, I guess I'll go next then. This week, I chose Always Be You by Montaigne and David Byrne.
Anyway, nothing's perfect. And anyway, you are worth it. And I can say, in every single way, and every single day.
It'll always be you. You might not always come
So this is kind of a stars aligning moment for me. Montaigne is a hyperpop artist, singer-songwriter who, like many people, I discovered when she did the theme song for the podcast My Brother and Me. I just love her voice and her kind of idiosyncratic delivery. Like, it's not quite spoken word, it's not quite singing. It reminds me of an early St. Vincent, almost, in a way. And when I heard that she did a track with David Byrne, I was like, oh, that makes total sense. And then I saw an interview with David Byrne, of course Talking Heads fame, for those who may or may not know, where he basically said, yeah, I got this email from this woman and I didn't know who she was, and then I looked up her music and I thought, why do I not know who she is? And he immediately agreed to do the song with her, and it turned into Always Be You. And I love this track. I think it suits both of them perfectly. It's a great example of like a person doing something with one of their influences that doesn't feel too on the nose. Like Montaigne has a lot of Talking Heads influence in the way that she writes and the way that she arranges, but this feels like the perfect melding of like what David Byrne has brought to the table of art rock and Montaigne's hyperpop sensibility. Like, you've still got some auto-tune harmonies in here. You've got these really weird clippy drums that are really high in the mix, but it's not too energetic, to Tyler's point. It's more swaggery. It's more like walking around, looking at the trees, you know, seeing the flowers. You could dance to this, but it's not that fast. And I listened to it in the car with the windows down the other day, and it was just perfect for that. These big soaring auto-tune harmonies just flow out the windows like a cool breeze. Like, it feels light and airy and springy. And then when David Byrne comes in, it's like the feeling of your favorite hoodie, you know, is like so comfortable and so familiar, but in this new, like, you know, it's like it's just cold enough where you might need a hoodie. And there's David Byrne to just be like, it's okay, buddy. You know me. Everything's good. I love this. I think their vocal harmonies are really tight as well. I'm surprisingly tight for as weird as David Byrne's voice is. Yeah, I hope they work together again, because it reminds me of all the stuff I liked about his duet album with St. Vincent. It's kooky and weird and fun. Why not?
This isn't for me.
Not surprised.
I really... It's funny that you said not surprised. Like, you were really expecting me to not like this, which I understand. Like, to be clear, when I say stuff like that, I don't mean to say, like, this song is bad. What I mean is, like, this would never come up on my radar, just because I'm just gonna go off on like a lot of blasphemous things tonight and just say, like, I'm not a big fan of David Byrne.
Oh, go ahead.
It's fine. You don't have to be.
Which part of David Byrne are you not a fan of?
There's nothing about him that I like.
Oh, nothing. Okay.
I think that he's a little bit too, honestly, because I don't like him. I haven't spent much time listening to David Byrne, but I feel like there's a little cult built around him that is like, I don't know. It's a little too deep for me, and I just have steered clear of that. I do like that it's tight. I don't like that the synth bass really carries the song, and it's this bouncy, hyper gross, tacky, memeable boom sound. Boom. And then you have like 4 beats of nothing and boom, and it's like, it's just tacky. Like, it's not even good in a tacky way, like wearing like in a Macklemore tacky way. It's just tacky to me. I get why it gets you hyped up for. I get it fits the challenge, because I understand why it makes you feel like this. It just siphons out my life when I listen to it. I'm like, oh, I have no energy with this. And I think it's because the vocal harmonies are shrill to me.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, it's like if you auto-tune Soulja Boy up a couple pitches, a couple octaves.
See, that's why I wanted to pair it with Tyler's song, because Tyler's song has such organic harmonies, and this is so synthetic. And I see the beauty in both of those, but I can definitely see why some people, the synthetic vocal just like absolutely grates on them. And I know that Sean is one of those people.
I think the you is a little much. I feel like it's like it. I like it. I feel like it's a little extreme.
I think it would be less extreme if it was used less.
Yeah,
like they do it a lot.
But I think as like sort of like a dream project, like, listen, Montaigne, good job shooting your shot. Like, to that out there, folks.
Way to just email your idol and get him on a track.
Right? Yeah. No, good on you.
Just see what he's up to today. Where it's like, I mean, I'm not doing anything. You want to do something Thursday? You know, like. You know, sometimes you kill your heroes, you know, sometimes you make a song with them. Because I've also discovered Montaigne through this avenue. I haven't actually listened to any of her other stuff, but I did enjoy what I have heard of her stuff because, what was the one? She had the one song about a salad that Travis used for
yes,
his
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what it's called either.
But I enjoy kind of like her. I enjoy her energy in that it seems very sort of. It just feels like not too worried about. I don't want to say presentation, but she's just kind of making what she wants to make and not really worried about like what people are really like saying about her or whatever. You know, it just feels very carefree, feels very sort of like in the moment, feels very present in what she's doing. And so I really enjoy that aspect of it. You know, I feel like in like sort of like our industry sort of climate of like the music industry, it feels like everyone just wants to just put out stuff. And I feel like, you know, if she's just trying to figure out like what her vibe is and figure out what like sort of like energy she wants to put out there, it's better just to make something like, you know, like fail fast and like figure it out. And I feel like, I feel like that's kind of, we can all reasonably agree. There's like probably some things to fix about this song, but like, I mean, for the most part, like it's fresh. I feel like there's like it's a good enough beat, like I'm moving to it, and I definitely get like a sort of like, it's definitely the right time for the song to come out, because I do get like a sense of springiness vibe to it. It's not too heavy, it's not too like overblown, it's just sort of like quaint enough to really sort of give you that vibe. I don't know, I feel like I also relate with Taylor in that like a synthetic sound sort of like sort of conveys emotions a little bit better in a way. It feels like it explains the unexplainable in the ways, and that's like why I kind of end up picking so much electronic stuff for like challenges that feel like a feeling. But yeah, I think this is an interesting choice. I think it works for the challenge, and just makes me just want to just check out more of Montaigne's work. So yeah.
All right, Sean, that just leaves you. What do you got this week?
So this week I chose Negroni Summer by Donny Benet.
What has it given you? A house and tailored suits. And what's the cost? Your best years they bought, but they can't take away the cherry on your pie. Cruising for an oval, cool Negroni summer, when you allow time to stop.
I discovered Donny through a very good friend at work who likes eccentric music. You gotta check this guy out. I've been into him for a long time now. I think you'll like his music. It's very 80s sounding, and he's totally into his music, and he just owns his look, and you just have to just listen to it. And I listened to it, and I was at first not very in love with it, but then I started listening into it more, and I was like, this is quality. This is just quality modern music made with 80s stuff. And the energy in this song and a lot of his music, it just captures this summer's coming vibe. And when I was going through it, I was just like, yeah, this works. I think it just kind of sums up my excitement that there is a summer part, it's coming, like there's a reference to a cocktail here, which is a very cliche thing to have. But I think too, in the first verse, he references like being stuck at your job. And I think there's not much lyrics in this song, but what he does is pretty good, is pretty effective. And I feel like he does a good job of just making very digestible pop music, even though he's not like the most popular artist on earth. Which is, I don't know, it's very interesting, but I thought this would be really good and get Donny some exposure. And thanks, Scott, for introducing me to Donny, because it's fun. And yes, there is saxophone in here. Tyler immediately called it out as soon as I posted this, but I did find a video of Donny playing the bass line for this song. He is a very accomplished bass player. I was blown away watching him play this song. It was like, jeez. So
this reminds me in a way of Boy Pablo, who is also kind of playing with retro sounds of this period, but in a more surfy direction. Whereas Donny Benet is clearly in more of a disco direction, but doing the same kind of acoustic palette. And I dig it. I think, like you said, great example of doing a retro sound without being too rip-offy or gimmicky. He's putting his own spin on it. He's got clearly a talent for arrangement, and I don't know how much of the instrumentation he's playing himself on this, but if he's got studio musicians, they are really good.
No, I think he plays all of it.
Whoa.
Incredible. I mean, everything on this is so tight. That bass line obviously runs the show, that little running bass, but then the rhythm guitar really sticks out to me. Because that's such an interesting picking pattern that is so specifically 80s, soft rock, post-disco kind of sound that you don't really think about until you hear it and you're like, oh wow, that takes me back to a place. Even a place before I was born. It's so defined. His vocals are very, parody of a lounge singer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which on this track works. I would be nervous about how versatile it would be. Like, it gets a little whispery at times, even on the chorus, which it's a very well written chorus. I feel like it could hit a little bit harder, but I understand that he's trying to do this kind of whispery, sexy thing, and that's fine. Like, it's a valid approach. It wouldn't be how I would have done it, but I'm not Donny Benet. I can't play that bass line, so don't criticize me. Yeah, this is really fun, and that soprano sax solo at the end is killer. That's the thing about Sean. Sean hates sax, supposedly, yet when he picks a song with sax in it, it's always a rippin' sax solo.
If it's gonna be there, it better be good.
So I was gonna like this no matter what.
Right up your alley.
Like, I was like, all right, well, Sean's doing a little. Me and Sean are having a little bit of soul fusion right now. I'm loving it.
I am trying to actively add to your sexy repertoire for your late evening playlist.
Please do. I was also like thinking about playing into like that kind of direction in a way. Like I was kind of like, should I do like some soul stuff? You know, like should I do some like smooth like R&B kind of like vintage sort of vibe to it? Yeah, I ended up going with it. But obviously I love this, right? I think pretty much everything about it, including the secret sax. You gotta love a secret sax. I think what's funniest about this is that on their Spotify page, people discovered him on like a future funk playlist because he has a song called Konnichiwa, and so like it's in with like all these like future funk people, and like it's really fun to see like someone who's clearly like, this is not necessarily like Japanese like inspired in any capacity. It's sort of like, yeah, it's very clearly like a lounge kind of vibe almost, but like it goes in so easily. It slots right into a lot of those sounds from that era. So like a lot of like city pop, you could just slide it in there and it works. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot really to say other than like basically Taylor covered all the musical parts that I like, which is everything from the bass, the sax, the vocal delivery, just the general vibe of it. I guess my only like critique of this is that like it doesn't necessarily like evoke celebration in a way. It's just sort of like just chill. And you know what? Spring is pretty chill. Like got a little goosebumps. I'm uncomfortable. Ooh, I need to put on a little jacket. I need to put on my cardigan. This is what the song makes me do. But yeah, good pick. Perfect. No notes.
So now it's time for my first favorite part, which is listener submissions. I absolutely love doing this part. I know that I say that every week, but it is so much fun to do this. Okay, so just a heads up. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. If I don't get your song right, you know where to find us. Write an email. Tell Taylor don't let me read it anymore. All right. So it's Esther with an H, which is all just one. Just left us a comment, but she did leave an artist. John Mayer says, has a big spring is finally here vibe for me. And I get that. I'm not a huge fan of John Mayer. I'm on enough Stratocaster Instagram accounts to know that he gets trolled so hard by everybody who plays guitar, even though he's really talented. But I get it. At boom.stud, Feels Like Summer by Weezer. I'm not familiar with this song. I'm familiar with Weezer.
It's one of the newer Weezer tracks that I actually really enjoy.
Like Africa?
It's from the album before that, the White album, I think it is. They're doing all colors now, and it's very confusing. It's more of a summer song. It has summer in the title.
Okay. Thanks. So did mine. So, okay, so that works now. Okay, Jack. Hey, Jack, thanks for posting. His song is You're Better Than Ever by Illuminati Hotties. I think we're pretty familiar with Illuminati Hotties. They
are already on the playlist, and they've been a listener suggestion twice in the last month.
Get a lot of love for Illuminati Hotties on here. That band name is just fun to say out loud. At Sign and Signify left us a comment. It's going to be something in the pop punk realm. I would want to agree with that, but listen to what we just picked.
We did not.
Yeah, pop punk's a little more summer for me.
I don't want to say that it's. I think okay. Let's talk about this as a bracket of the challenge. The first warm day for you for some listeners might be like May.
Yeah, and that's hard. And I think there's also an element of like first warm day, just gun it. We're going for summer. Putting on my sunnies, getting on the trunks, going to the pool. And I respect that as an approach. I've just been hurt too many times, and that's something that I have to deal with.
Our next one is from Hoff Guy. Song is Summer Connection by Teiko Anuki? Did I say that right? Okay.
We're pretty close. It's a nice city pop artist.
Oh, okay.
Classic.
Do you know of this? Do you know of this artist?
I know of her. I hadn't actually listened to this one in particular, but guaranteed it's going to be, it's going to be pretty good if you like the song that you just picked, Sean. I think you'd be into it.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Next submission, listener Julian Seth picked Friction by Television. This is such a good 2021 name of song and band.
Well, Television is on the playlist already from our CBGB episode. But
Television old.
Television, 70s punk band from New York.
Television.
Yeah, I love Television. Also right up the same alley as Talking Heads, so I'm going to love it.
Next submission at 71 DPI, Get Up and Go by Polyphonics Free.
I have wanted to like this band for a long time, and I just can't get into them, so maybe this is the track to start.
There you go.
The next one that I am familiar with, thank you, Ivan. Ivan picked Free Fallin' by Tom Petty. Thank you, Ivan. I feel like I haven't picked it. Have I picked a Tom Petty? Is there a Tom Petty song on this show yet?
There definitely is, because I remember railing about how much I don't like Tom Petty, and you being very upset with me.
Well, I am very upset with you that you don't like Tom Petty.
Oh, it's the one that has Paul McCartney.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, no, we have the, we picked a Traveling Wilburys song, which has George Harrison, and Tom Petty is part of the Traveling Wilburys. But then there's also just a Tom Petty song, and I don't remember which one it is.
Off-topic question: are there any supergroups that managed to make like a second album that was any good?
Depends on if you consider the Dead Weather a supergroup.
No.
Then probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. I felt like some supergroups I listened to have been like, wait a second, what's happening here? All right, and then last but not least, Jake Huth picked Mountain Band by Crash Kings.
I mean, sure, why not?
Is anybody familiar with this song?
Vaguely. It's aight.
Okay.
It's like
wouldn't have been my vibe for this challenge.
A little bit of a harder rock, piano rock kind of vibe. Is kind of just judging off the song that he picked.
Like Billy Joel?
No, like a Jack White kind of rock vibe, but piano centric.
Okay.
I mean,
I could be down for that. There's a lot of Black Rebel Motorcycle Club songs that are surprisingly piano centric.
Yeah, I would put it in that camp probably. It's in that direction.
So let me pose a question before we move on to B-sides, just quickly. Now that we've done a few of these listener submissions, did we miss the challenge?
That's a good question to ask.
I don't think so, at least not on this one.
Okay.
I feel like everybody was in an optimistic place. It's just some of us were a little more high energy than others.
Okay, I buy that.
Every episode we have to decide if the youth are wrong or if we're right. I would say we did all right. I would say we do. I say we matched the energy. I would say.
Certainly better than we have in a few weeks.
yeah, we've missed the mark many times before.
All right, and now it's time for our B-sides. You got them. People want to hear them. Go for it.
You guys, I'm about to blow your minds.
Running down the dream.
Even more mind-blowing. Poster Child, the new single from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ooh.
What? Hold on.
That's right.
Fresh heat.
Gotta look this in.
At the right spot, and if you want to be a mod, you'll have to meet me at the quad. You got the best of my logo. I'll take the rest of your show. You got the best of my yo-go. I'll take the rest of your yo-no. Parliament's atomic thought to have for filling up a fog of talk about.
John Frusciante is back in the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they have got their groove back.
You know, if I didn't already jokingly name the Red Hot Chili Peppers one of my least favorite bands of all time, I feel like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song probably might be good here for this challenge.
I'm very excited about this new album of theirs, if this is what it's going to sound like.
Initial listen, this is pretty good.
Ooh, okay.
This is like old school
It's a real return to form.
Peppers. Well, I wouldn't say old school Peppers, because they were like very different in the late 80s, but
This is like mid-90s Chili Peppers.
yeah, this is like hits, and it's not like
It's not stadium rock.
this is something. Yeah, this is definitely something that somebody, if they're like, play the old stuff, and then they play this song, you'd be like, oh, they just got you.
Yeah, it sounds like it was from 1994.
My favorite part, my favorite part is that it doesn't start off with Flea doing a slap bass. He's just playing it. He's just playing it normally, and it sounds great.
See, that's the thing. I feel like it shows impressive restraint, and that's why I like it.
I feel like if you had to surmise Red Hot Chili Peppers' previous works, I would say Gonzo would be the best word to describe. This feels under control.
Anthony Kiedis is just going hard here.
They're all in top form on this. I mean, that groovy John Frusciante guitar, love it. But this is not a pick. We can't analyze the crap out of this song because I might use it later. But it's really good.
Okay, sorry. I just you can't do this right at the end of an episode where I'm like, no, I need to like live react this 5.5 minute song.
So good. I want them to be good again, guys. That's my only B-side.
That's the only one?
Yes. I was just so excited.
Yeah, probably just like Running Down the Dream or something. When I had put in Tom Petty, I didn't really have any B-sides, but I was like, yeah, you could put on like greatest hits of Tom Petty and just drive to that. I feel like that's what was interesting about this challenge is there was like a twofold thing. First Warm Day of the Summer, and then when it was like drive with the windows down. Because I feel like when you have a secondary like that, it really does send you down a direction. Like I feel like it might have been different if we were like First Day for Shorts. That feels like a very pop punky challenge to me. That's where I immediately would have went. But when you add the driving context in there, I get why Tyler kind of went down the classic rock road, because driving just feels like a nostalgic activity on a hot day. So it's interesting. Okay.
All right, great. You guys had shorties. I had such a long list. I had to cut my list down of B-sides because it was too damn long. Genius of Love, Tom Tom Club, May by Standards. It sounds so fresh, so springy that a song called May, it makes sense. And here's my secret sauce. Here's my spicy pick. Actually, these two are both pretty spicy. Larger Than Life, but Backstreet Boys. I was like, how deep does the nostalgia go? And I decided a little too nostalgic. Wide Open Spaces by The Chicks. I was like, Ooh. I was like,
yes,
maybe?
sir. Yes, sir.
And I really decided that I didn't want Sean to psychoanalyze that part of me tonight, so I decided to not pick that one. Endless Fantasy by Anamanaguchi, Bob O'Reilly by The Who, Free Ride by the Edgar Winter Group, which was, as we stated, was my previous choice. I really like the energy of it, but it's a little too much, a little too classic rock, a little too dad. And then we don't have to talk about it, but it's Marching by Dave Matthews Band. Alright, anyway, so you can find my design illustration work at RudePets.com. As always, you can find me on socials at RudePets Club, Instagram, and Twitter. We don't have to talk about Dave Matthews Band. Bye!
Sean, if people want to crash into you, where can they do it?
Oh my god. How dare you make a Dave Matthews outro to me? But tell me, Sean, Instagram. That's where you can find me at. God, don't post any Dave Matthews stuff at me. I will totally block you. Totally block you.
If you want to help me torment my co-hosts with Dave Matthews memes, you can find me on the socials at TC Oldstead. All of these songs will be on the official No Repeat podcast playlist. The B-sides are on a B-sides playlist on Spotify, maintained by our super deluxe edition podcast pal, Ivan Glasgow. And we will be back next week with another episode of No Repeat.